Hey everybody, this is Brett, and today I'm just working, making some yoga bolsters, and I get all these thoughts in my head about all kinds of things, and I'm like, man, I should make a video, and then I'm like, I peter out, and I seem to be doing better with these live videos, so why not just go with it? And look, I've got a viewer. Hey, who are you? 4 viewers, 5. Wow, I'm so popular. So the first subject anyway, is college education versus YouTube. So the question might be, is it good to learn things? And the second question, or the answer to that might be, yes, obviously, it's good to learn things. But the second question could be, what kind of things do you want to learn? How much time do you have? Is time valuable? Is it worth it to learn things that you'll never use? So that makes the answer to the question, like the comparison of YouTube versus a college education, pretty easy, doesn't it? Because anytime that you want the answers to something, to anything, you can just go on YouTube and put the question in there, and you'll generally be able to find a video that has the answer, right? Whereas you go to college and you pay all of this money that's going to get you in debt. And they've been talking about this a lot on various features, news features and places. And you get in debt for years and years. And then sometimes you'll see somebody like give everyone's debt, like pay off everyone's debt. You know, some rich person will come along and they'll be talking to all the people that are graduating from that year's college class, that year of college, and they'll say, this very, very prominent wealthy person will say, and I've decided to pay off everyone's student loans. And everyone goes, ah! Oh my God, thank you, thank you. But still, even though they had all the, and this doesn't happen that often, okay? This doesn't happen that often. And then Bernie wants to make it all free, okay? And that's all great, y'all, but still, you have all of these people that are spending all of these years of their time to learn a whole lot of things that they'll never use. Some of the things they'll use, maybe about 10% of the things that maybe even 20% of the things that they learn in a college education, they'll actually use. Man, that's really batting a high percentage, isn't it? But if you go on YouTube, what are the chances that you find what you really need quickly and easily without forking out a lot of money and getting in debt for years and years? There are so many things. See, that when you're trying to live a logical and modest lifestyle, you investigate all of these things like I do. Like, people say, well, you want to buy a home? You've got to dish out $100 or $200 or $1 million. And then you look at what that home is made out of, and you know that it's toxic. And if you're somebody that has, learned about these things, educated yourself, then you know that you don't want to go in debt for 30 years for a toxic house. And then you learn, well, there are people out there that have actually built their own houses out of natural materials, mud and stone and straw, etc., etc. And it only costs them like a couple thousand, maybe $5,000 for a really nice house. And you see all of these people with problems in regards to being able to afford housing, affordable housing. And you think to yourself, how might people be able to afford to have housing? But the problem is that they've created a world in which it's not conducive to that because housing is a money racket. That's why I see all these people, and you see people out there that have decided that what they want in life is to be able to make a quick buck. I need a quick buck. And real estate is one of the things. And when I was really young, like I was about 15 or 16, I guess. And I'm living in Utah. I may have been, 16, 17. And we see these commercials on television about how you can flip real estate, how you can buy and sell real estate. And what you do is you buy a fixer-upper, and then you spend some time, like a month or so, fixing it up, and then you flip it and you make 20 grand. 20 grand after a month, man. But what it really was a ploy. It was a thing to sell these books. And man, somebody really sold a lot of books and CDs and made a crap load of money. And they came up with a fancy name for it and blah, blah, blah. And so after you get to be old enough, like me, you're seeing through all of the scams of this capitalist society. There are God freaking knows how many of these get rich quick things there are out there. Multi-level marketing businesses or pyramid schemes where you've got this one person at the top and all the money is feeding up to them. Well, the college educations that people are able to get in this country are largely also a racket, a capitalist racket. And I know a lot of you have your college educations and that you're grateful for them, sort of, because they give you this ability to go out and get a job. Well, that's another part of the whole racket, because you see, if you're a certain type of a business, then you're really ethically and or morally and or maybe even legally not obligated or able to hire somebody unless they have this specific certificate, even if they're really, really good at doing what they do. For instance, I'm one of the best freaking massage therapists in the state of North Carolina. I know this. I know I am. I've trained many, many hundreds of massage therapists, and I know how good massage therapists are out there, and they're not very good. But you see, I no longer have that piece of paper sitting on my wall. So if I were to go out to a spa and say, hey, I learned how to do massage from years and years. I did massage for 20 years on all my family members. I worked on them day and night, and I watched all these videos, and I read 1,400 books, and I became the best freaking massage therapist in the world. But I've never really been to school. All I did was I learned it from YouTube videos and got really good from practicing all my friends and family. The spa would look at me and they'd be like, well, that's really great, and we can appreciate that, but we can't hire you because in order to work at this spa, you have to have a North Carolina massage license. And that goes with a whole lot of businesses out there, even if they're not like a state licensed required thing. If they were to hire somebody that didn't have a college education, and somebody else said, hey, look, you hired this person and they don't have a college education, but you didn't hire me. They also might say something like, plus I'm black and you don't have any black people working for you, or Hispanic or something like that, you know. There are all kinds of things that you can get sued for in this world. You can get sued for various things and you can get in trouble. But really, see, that's not the world that I live in. I don't look at pieces of paper and I don't look at this or that or color of people's skin. I look at how cool people are, how smart they are, how attractive they are, all the things that make how good they are at doing whatever they're doing. I look at the people like that and I make a decision on whether I want to be friends with them, be business partners or whatever with them by those aspects, not by some kind of a bullshit thing that society has made to increase their capitalism, to feed their capitalism and the value of their real estate, or the value of their stocks and bonds and blah, blah, blah. And I don't borrow money. I don't borrow money. Okay, so if something is valuable, then it's valuable. If it's not, then it's not. If someone is good, then they're good. If they're not, they're not. And it doesn't matter if they have 14 fucking certificates on the wall. It doesn't matter. What matters is what matters, and that's it. But like I said, there's problems. There's problems with each different kind of a society, whether it be a communist or a capitalist or a socialist. It doesn't matter. There's always some kind of problems, and we're evolving towards the truth, because the truth is all that matters. So, it's not easy. It's not easy to buck the system, because the system wants to survive. So you've got all these people that have created the system, and the system wants to survive. Everything wants to survive. But if something isn't true, it's not going to survive, because the truth always rises above the money or the power or the influence, the whatever. That's how it works. So I wouldn't count, if I were you, if you're a young person and you're thinking about going to college, I wouldn't count on that giving you a lot. I would count on it giving you a lot of stress, because they're going to force you, they're going to prompt you, they're going to encourage you to take on as many classes as you can, because they'll give you breaks. They'll give you price breaks. The more credits you buy, the more classes that you take, the less it costs you. And so you can't just take your time. That's another thing. You can't just take your time going to college, going to a university, unless you really want to pay out the ass. And anyways, so those are my thoughts on that. While I've got 14 of you here, might I talk a bit about hand language and how gestures can really help you to talk? Because when I'm sitting here talking to you guys, sometimes I'll get stuck in my mind. And I'll be like, and then I'll get nervous and I'm like, shit, they think I'm a dumbass. And so what I'll do oftentimes is this particular hand gesture. Remember this. This is something that they may or may not teach you in college, but you can learn it for free from me. You can learn it for free from me. This right here. Okay, so remember, the mind is connected to the body, and the body is connected to the mind with your neck. Okay, so when you do something with the body, that's a subconscious reaction. It's a subconscious part of your mind that's controlling your body, that helps another part of your mind to be able to continue. Okay, so this movement is forward. This movement is backward. When you go like this, and you'll see speakers, anybody that's a decent speaker, almost every one of them use, and newscasters, whatever, especially if you're speaking live, you've got to use these hand things. to be able to help you to keep speaking. And you don't have to be just a newscaster. You could just be talking to one person. You might even be just talking to yourself. And if you get stuck, this particular one right here helps you to keep going. And some people, and I know this to be true because I remember back when there was a time when I was embarrassed to use my hands to help myself to speak. But I don't just do it to help myself to speak. I also do it to myself, like when I'm walking around the house and I'm working on things, this and that, and I get kind of stuck in my mind, then I'll be like, come on, keep going, because that's what that means, to keep going. Keep going. See, it works. It keeps you going. And if you feel stupid, and if you're really thinking, and like there's so many different, let's say, if you really want to connect with your heart, then use your hands to touch your heart. If you, like I told you in the last video, if you really want to connect with the divine, then put your left and right hands together. Stop. Don't do that. It not only helps you to be able to create the story that you're trying to reveal, but it also helps the people that you're looking at to be able to understand. You can make up ones to understand. Let's see. You know, let's say that you're going home to your wife in the evening. You can make up ones, all kinds of things. But whatever you can relate to, okay, whatever you can relate to is what you need to do to be able to tell the story that you're trying to tell. Tell the story that you're trying to tell. And people can understand that because that's like a thing that you're doing. You're doing. I'm making these up as I go. You know, you look up in the sky and you're like, Lord, help me to make this decision on things that I need to do. Can you believe that? It's insane. You might be a chicken. So yeah, I just really think that hand gestures are so important to be able to communicate what you're trying to say. And I think that it takes a little bit of practice and confidence. You might start yourself a YouTube channel, or you might just practice with your video camera. Hey, Brett, really appreciate your videos of truth and therapy, peace, and positive energy. Thanks, JRock30. Hey, Virginia, or Vishal, Virginia. Hey, Vishal, Kunaram. How are you? In India, probably. Yes, it's simple. You agree. I hate whatever paperwork I'm filling out, and sure enough, I'm always asked if I'm Hispanic. Who gives a fuck what ethnic I am? Well, you guys know that there is a degree of understanding of different ethnicities. And there are tendencies that different cultures and ethnicities can have. But there are no absolutes. Okay, so I'm not always prejudiced because I understand all of these concepts. I can be prejudgmental about people or places or things. That's how it is. If you see a big tall tree, then you think, man, that's a big tall tree. If I were to stand on the top of that big tall tree, I'd be able to see quite a ways. I assume that to be true. It's not it's not absolute, because there might be another big tall tree right next to it, and I wouldn't be able to see directly behind that one. But in most, if I turn and look, I would be able to see in most directions pretty far. Okay, so there are no absolutes, but yes, certain cultures and certain religions and certain colors of people, blah, 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 can have certain tendencies. It's just like a dog breed. Just like a dog breed, certain dog breeds can be more aggressive. That's how it is. and if some of you don't like hearing that, I'm sorry, I'm just here to tell you the truth. So what else do y'all want to say? College indoctrinates, it does not educate it. You have to educate yourself. Universities are weaponized institutions for a global Jesuit agenda. Yes, they are. You know, and when I went to massage school, I thought that I paid way too much. And I think I did. And a lot of the stuff that I learned was not really necessary for me. Although I think I did pick a really good school and I learned a lot. See, when you go to a specific type of a school, like a massage school, or you go to a welder's school or something like that, where you're specifically going to just learn one thing, you'll get a lot more out of it that you can actually use, because that's the thing that you're specifically focusing on. But a college or a university, birdies, a college or university is not. It's a broad range of things where you learn 14 or 20 or 30 different things, and you're really only majoring in one. But they're going to tell you that, well, you need to learn all of these other things because they're a prerequisite for being able to learn this one thing. I really don't agree for the most part. Yes, you need a basic understanding of English and math and this and that. But in most cases, if you were to go up to and learn from somebody that's a real professional, like for instance, if one of you were to come here and learn massage from me every single day, let's say a pair of you came so that you could work on each other, and I were to teach you how to do real massage, like a lot better than you'd learn at any massage school. If you were to come here and learn how to do ass-kicking specific good techniques that I learned over years and years in my practice and from working on myself, you would walk out of here in 1 month or less, probably 2 weeks, a better massage therapist than other therapists that had been to school, especially if you were gifted. If you were a gifted massage therapist, like naturally able to work on people, and you were to come here and learn from me also over a 2-week period, you'd be better than 95% or more of the licensed people that had gone to massage school for 6 months or a year. You'd be better than most of those people, 95% of them. And even if you weren't gifted, you'd be better than 70% of them. Because most of them aren't gifted, and most of them aren't smart, and most of them blah, blah, whatever. So that's what I mean by when you go on YouTube, you can find people that are really, really good at whatever. And you have to be able to recognize which of those people are really good. That's another thing, having intuition and the ability to see, like, hey, this person, not just that you like them. That's cool. It's cool if you like somebody, but are they really good? Because if you're trying to learn something technical, that's the most important thing. It's not an emotional thing, or it's not some kind of a loving thing. It's that you want to learn how to declog your drains. And so you're looking for somebody that's an ass-kicking good plumber, that's also a really good teacher, that's able to teach you how to go over to the hardware store, buy what you need exactly. And the video has to be gnats ass right, sharp, and fast, because you don't want to sit there all day waiting for them to do their little introduction type of a video where they have their branding bullshit. Oh, we love this, and oh, we love that, and we're your favorite plumber. No, you don't care about any of that. You just want to know how to get that toilet unclogged so that you can flush the damn thing. I give you this example because a long time ago, I went on YouTube because my drains were clogged, my pipes were clogged, and I wanted to be able to know how to do it fast and soon on my own. And so that's what I did. I went on there and I learned how to buy this thing that you hook up to your drill. You hook it up to your drill, and then you feed the snake down into the drain. It's got a big wire coil thing on the end of it, and you push that down into the drain. See, I had this Airbnb in Asheville, and I kept getting all of this hair from women with long hair, and it would all get clogged in the drain. So I wanted to be able to unclog it on my own regularly, just like the self-massage needs to be done regularly. And most of us can't afford a plumber or a massage therapist, and so we need to be able to do stuff on our own. And so I went down to Lowe's and I bought this thing that you hook up to a drill, and I shoved the snake down into the drain and turned on the drill, and it started spinning that son of a bitch around and around and around and got all the hair out of there. So that's just one example of 40 gazillion things that you can learn on YouTube that you're not going to learn at any college or university. I'm talking about things that you'll actually need and need to use, and like maybe every day. And so what's more valuable, YouTube or a college education that costs you 50 grand? They were telling me that when a doctor graduates, check this out, when a doctor has graduated after 8+ years of education, they now owe, on average, $201,000. $201,000. And that's so that they can go out and sit in a little office, right? And have all of these sick people, all of these freaking sick people that are not willing to take care of themselves, come in one at a time for 10 minutes apiece, where the doctor sits there and says, "So tell me what your problem is." "Well, my back is really aching me, doc. Or I've been really nauseous lately. And I've been farting every day. Is there anything that you can do about my farting problem?" And so then this guy gets out his little $200,000 prescription book. He spent 8 years of his life, or her life, learning about all of these things. God knows how many things that they learned. And they know this and they know that about all the drugs. And the drug companies are giving them a little cut on the side. And they're filling out their HCFA 1500 forms as fast as they can to send them into the insurance companies to gouge those insurance companies for as much as they possibly can. And the people are all paying their premiums, $200, $300, $500 every single month. And it's killing them because they can't afford the organic food because they're paying so much in insurance premiums. And then they get to their doctor and he cuts them a little prescription. And then they go over to the drugstore, and what do they get? They get their prescription and they take it home, and then they consume their drugs. And then what happens? Side effects. Side effects. They're kind of driving down the road and they're like, "Well, how do I feel? Yeah, maybe I'm not quite so depressed. Yeah, I'm not as depressed as I was before." And then they freak out and run off the road and hit a tree, and they're dead. God. So the hardest part about all of this for me is that I'm thinking, like, I live in this world. I live in this freaky, trippy world where they all owe out their asses for their mortgages and their student loans and their medical bills. Those three things. Just imagine. And the car loans, too. The car loans and their kids' student loans. Their own student loans, their kids' student loans, their medical bills, all of these things, they owe. So then off to work they go, and they work for 8 hours or more every day, 40 hours a week they work, but they're not working on taking care of themselves. So then what happens? What happens when they're working so much to pay off all of this debt, but they're not taking care of themselves? Write down right there. It's very simple. What happens when they're doing that? They get stressed. What happens when they get stressed? That's the number one dis-ease in this world, stress. This controls all of the rest of this. All of that. The heart's not functioning anymore. The lungs aren't functioning anymore. They can't even breathe because the air's so bad outside. And that's making them more and more stressed. I'm telling you, how long do you think it's going to last? When you see all of this, when you see how all of this is going down, how long do you think all of this is going to continue to be like it is? When you see all of the different species of animals in this world getting close to extinction, getting wiped out by human greed, and overconsumption. When you see all the pollution, when you see all of the waste of food, when you see all the pesticide-ridden food, how long do you think it's going to last? With 7 to 8 billion people in this world. So, if people come to the truth and realize that instead of working for 8 hours a day, they need to work for other people doing things, making things and services, blah, 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 for 4 hours a day. Let's just cut it in half. And then they take that other 4 hours plus another 3 hours that they were watching television, and they work on their own health by going out and working in the garden and walking, just sitting and doing nothing in the sunshine, making healthy food, figuring out how they can get out of the city, and actually taking the time to get in their car and just driving out, just drive out in the country. And you're walking down the road, right? And all of a sudden, you meet up with this old woman. And you tell her about your dilemma. You tell her of all the different things that I just told you. You're like, I just can't breathe in Houston anymore. I just can't stand the energy of New York City anymore. It's driving me nuts, and I feel as though I can't even exist in that environment anymore. And this old woman looks at you and says, well, you know what? I've got an extra room in my house, and I've got a garden outside my you're clear out in the country. You're clear out in the country, and this old woman, you meet her on the street, on the road. She went out to get her mail, and she doesn't know anything about health. And you say to her, well, you know what? I want to come out here and live with you. If you'll let me live in your room and work in your garden, I'll grow you food. And I can work part-time on the internet, because you can get internet, right? And she goes, yeah, I think, what is that? The internet. Yeah, I think I can get that. And so you figure out a way to be able to move out to the country by going out there That's what I'm going to do on an island. I'm going to somehow buy myself a plane ticket to some island somewhere, some beautiful tropical island. And I'm going to go there and I'm going to investigate. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to say, hey, man, how the hell can a white, blonde-haired, gray-haired dude be able to move here? And they'll look at me and they'll be like, well, hell, just sit yourself. No, I was doing a country accent. But you sell them. You set them up yourself, so a hut right over there. Set up a hut. You build yourself a hut right over there under those trees. And I'll be like, shit, I'll do it. Can I catch fish too? So anyways, I want to thank you for joining me. And I hope that you kind of are figuring out the things that I'm figuring out, which are the truths about the realities of this crazy effed up world. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Oh, wait. For right now, I'm going to leave those products on my website on sale for a while. They may kind of go off individually, but for right now, those products are still on sale on my site. The Melt Hole pillows are $10 off. That is a deal. That's almost 20%. And yeah, couple of people took advantage of that, but more people should be taking advantage of that for sure. And hey, Cheryl, how are you, girl? Hey, I get it now. Dangerous slave. Dangerous slave. It's easy to see who's the new viewers. Let's see. Myra Bentley loves the truth. Some people love the truth. So most of my products are still on sale. Hey, Brett, I'm in a class right now laughing out loud. Obviously, we don't know what's more interesting. Or wait, we know what's more interesting. That's right. See, things that are interesting are probably also things that you will be using. Like if you're sitting there in a class and you're like, I'm never going to use this, and this is so boring. I mean, stuff, you might not use it, but if you at least find that it's interesting, if the teacher is at least vibrant because they're consuming quality fuels and because they're just generally a vibrant person, that helps a lot. And I hope that if you are going to college that you've got some half-decent teachers. But if you don't, I mean, for me, I would probably send some letters to the college. Like, I might not sign my name to them, but I'd be like, Mr. Johnson is a complete freaking idiot. He's so boring, and he's so like I can't stand to sit there in his class. I mean, you're paying for this. When you're going to high school, your parents were paying with their taxes. I'm paying with my taxes for other people's kids to go to school. I don't have any kids. Something's screwed up about that. Remember the hand gestures. But in any case, yeah, I hope that if you are going to college that you got at least some interesting classes. If not, I don't know why you're going to college, because most of it you're not going to use. So thanks for joining me. If you are I'm having a problem with getting off of this thing because I keep thinking of more things to talk about. If you are really inventive, ingenuitive, then you will think of ways to be able to survive in this world without a college education. If you figure out what you're really good at, that's the key, then you'll be able to sustain yourself, whatever it may be. Now, you may be good at doing something that's not very, what's the word? I can't even think of the damn word. Able to make money. Sorry, that's just kind of how it is. You'll have to live a very meager lifestyle, a very budget lifestyle, and you'll have to really grow your own food, but that'll be good for you. So, say you're an artist. There's a lot of people around here that are poor artists, just living in little cabins, little freaking dirt bag cabins. But they do their art all day, and that's what makes them happy. And the thing is, though, that art can make you happy, but if you're not good at it, sorry, you're not going to make money. People aren't going to buy your art unless they're just sympathetic towards you. So you really have to figure out what you're good at and go with that. And it doesn't have to be something that you have to have a college education from. Because believe me, if you're really good, no matter whether you've got a piece of paper on the wall or not, somebody out there that really needs somebody that's good is going to snatch you up and be really freaking grateful that they've got you working for them, or you're working for yourself. That's a lot better. And you'll be able to figure out if you have the ability to advertise for yourself, if you have an ability to connect with somebody that can help you to advertise and show your stuff, whatever you do, a service or a product, that you'll be able to make money doing that. And so that's all I have to say for about another hour until I think of more. So lucrative. There we go. Thank you, Monica. Thank you. Lucrative. Sometimes you get a brain fart, and no matter how much hand stuff that you do, you still can't think of the word. But it's okay, because as long as you're not wasting years and years and thousands of dollars on something that's really not valuable to you, you're only doing it because everybody else is doing it. Or your parents or somebody said, well, I really want you to be the first person in the family to get a college education. You don't listen to all that bullshit. You just listen to you. You listen to your needs. If you want to be a freaking welder, well, by God, go out and be a welder. Put up signs on the road. I've done all kinds of stuff. I've taken Coroplast signs, put them on poles, and said, low-cost tree work on my phone number in Scripps Ranch, California. They should have gotten a lot more of that eucalyptus cut down, because not too long after that, the whole city of Scripps Ranch burned to the ground, largely caused by the burning of all those dry eucalyptus trees. It's a sad thing in California. But luckily, they've got a lot of people in California, a lot of people with hands and arms and lungs that need to breathe clean air. And if they can get all of those people that clear the hell out of the cities so that they can breathe and do some good work, cutting down bushes and clearing all that brush and get some goats busy, man, I'm telling you, so many things can happen for the good of all in this world, but it's just a matter of changing people's mindsets and creating some initiative and doing it and realizing, what do we really need? Now, what do we, instead of some fluba thing, little plastic gadget freaking thing that looks really cool, and maybe that's a game we can play for hours and hours on the computer or something, to realize what we really need. And the only way that's going to happen is if whole towns, really, in all honesty, if whole towns burn to the ground, if whole cities are washed away by hurricanes, if populations of animals are completely decimated. For the most part, that's what's going to happen in order for people to get real. But those of you that are smart don't have to do that the hard way. You don't have to do learn by example, by bad examples like Donald Trump. We don't really have to have bad examples to know what the future needs to be like, the way that we need to change, things that need to happen, etc., etc. We don't really need to have bad things happen to change. We can just change on our own. So thanks for joining me, everybody, and go to brettsnaturalhealth.com and buy a bunch of natural things instead of a bunch of BS. Bye.